We are done with the construction part of the RC model plane. Let's go on to the electronic part of RC model plane. To choose the electronic of the flight, we have to consider the size of the plane, speed we wish to achieve, necessary thrust, and design flight time. We know the thrust to weight ratio of an RC trainer model is 0.7:1, and substituting the 2 kg aircraft in place of 1, we get 1.4 kg thrust to carry our plane. The motor chosen should be 50% more thrust than needed. Hence, the motor should produce 2.1 kg of thrust. From the graph on the right, it indicates the watt per pound ratio for power required for flying. Hence, our trainer plane requires 75 watt per lb of power. Power needed for a 2 kg flight is 330.75 watt, which is required by multiplying weight lb into watt by lb value, that is 75. As we had considered our flight time to be 7 minutes with standard LiPo battery of 3 cells providing 11.1 volts, the current for 330.75 watt is 29.80 amps at full throttle settings. For your information, the average current over the course of flight is approximately 66% of the full throttle setting, which is 18.86 amps. Basically, we don't want to completely discharge the battery, so we don't use 100% of battery capacity. We have to leave 20% in the pack of the end of the flight, so we use only 80% of the battery. Battery are rated in milliamps per hour, but instead of using 60 minutes, we want only 80% of the time, that is 48 minutes. The seed discharge rate is 7 seed discharge rate with 20% battery lifetime left. To choose a LiPo battery, we have to decide the average current by discharge rate. Here we have 2709 mAh to 3000 mAh. LiPo battery is required to achieve a flight time of 7 minutes. To choose a motor, we require 330.75 watt motor and propeller combination using 3000 mAh 3 cells LiPo battery. There are varieties of motors available in the market, but what we have to focus on is on the specifications we will be needing for our flight. Every motor company has a motor propeller data which can be used as a reference to choose the motor. I have taken reference of the Cobra C2814/12 motor propeller data for our specification. This motor is 2814/12/1390, which can be read as 2814 ampere, 12 turns and 1390 kV motor. It can handle 40 amps, but we require only 29.80 amps. But it is okay because it won't burn the motor when we decide to increase the aerobatic capacity of the aircraft. Propeller selection guideline shows APC 9x6E propeller, which will pull 33.09 amps with 367.3 volts, which is slightly greater than our requirement, which is perfectly fine. You can use the link below in the notes section to check out the Cobra motor propeller data. Now to find the RPM of the motor, kV plays role here. kV is not kilovolt, but it refers to the velocity constant that tells how many RPM a motor turns per volt. Hence, we get 15,429 RPM. The ESC controls and regulates the speed of motor. Every motor suggests a matching ESC, so the recommended ESC for 330.75 volt is 40 ampere. Here we will not be needing a separate battery eliminator circuit because a 40 ampere ESC already has an inbuilt BEC. Servos. These are used to control the elevator, rudder and aileron control surfaces. Usually, servos depend on the number of control surfaces we will be using on the RC plane. Transmitter and receiver of a radio-controlled RC must both be on the same frequency so that the aircraft can be controlled in flight. In this case, 24 GHz frequency is good to fly. This is an important part of RC plane because if it fails, the plane cannot be controlled further. Now we have reached the end of the RC plane model. To calculate the overall weight of the RC plane according to the components we have used, we get the total electronic weight as 445.4 grams. So multiplying this with 4, which is according to the thumb of rule the weight of aircraft, is equals to approximately 2 to 4 times the weight of electronic, we get 1781.6 grams, which is approximately equal to 2 kg of RC. Hence, we can conclude that with the construction and the electronic component of our total RC plane, we can get an RC plane model of 2 kg. Thank you. Have fun, fly safe, and be careful.